A senior legal practitioner, Robert Clark, has called for the creation of an independent, transparent body to handle the disbursement of federal allocations to local councils. While the senior lawyer spoke against the backdrop of tensions between Osun state government and the federal government over withheld local government allocations, leading to the state government filing a lawsuit at the Supreme Court to restrain the federal government. Now, Clark acknowledged the apex court's constitutional authority to intervene in such matters, but stressed the need for lasting structural solutions. He called for the creation of a body that when the money leaves the federal treasury, it will go directly to such an organization, thereby bypassing state governors who have been accused of tampering with council funds. Well, we have our Rise News analyst, Dayo Sobowale, in the studio now to join us to take a further look at the call by senior lawyer Robert Clark on the federal government to create a special independent body to manage council funds and the likely impact of such an action on governance and development at the grassroots level. Great to have you here this afternoon, Mr. Sobowale.
Pleasure of being here, right.
So what do you make of this intermediary to receive the funds before it gets into the governor's hands or and the proposal that is being talked about?
Yes, I think the senior advocate, Chief Clark, said that in good faith.
He did.
But we are in a digital world. And what the Supreme Court ruled on the matter, which still stands, is that the funds should be given directly to the local government, not through the state government, not through an independent body like he's proposing. That is, creating another bureaucratic step in the way of delivery of the funds. And like I said, we are in a digital world. The Supreme Court has ruled wisely that the money should be sent directly. And you see, the issue on the ground now is not a matter of padding the issue or adding another step to it. The issue is one of delivering on the Supreme Court judgment. That is the problem. And I am aghast, I'm shocked that the federal government haven't secured a judgment in its favor to do what is right, cannot implement it. That shows the nature of governance. When you see one party state, you can see a party in power that cannot implement a judgment in its favor. And I think the government too anticipated this, and they have been pragmatic. When they got that judgment, they set up a body made up of all the bureaucratic obstacles that could be in their path, headed by the Secretary to the Government, Minister of Justice, Finance, Account Department, everybody, so that there will be no obstacle. That committee has been set up for almost a year now. It has not sent in its report. So what Papa Clark is proposing is done in good faith. But you see, we have passed that stage. Let the government see its way through in implementing a judgment it got. And I think the fear of government right now is that it doesn't want the funds to get into the wrong hands in Osun State. If you know what is happening, Osun State has gone to court. The government does not want the funds to... So somewhere, somehow, some people are trying to make an ass of the law. Some people are trying to make an ass of the law. And I think it is the duty of the Supreme Court to see through that and see through that its government is delivered, its action has delivered. Right.
So if we say we've gone, past Chief Clark's proposal, how then do we address the issues of corruption, mismanagement, lack of transparency in local government fund allocation and utilization?
We have not reached that stage now. A judgment has been given, that's not been implemented. And now a state government. You see, in Edo State and in Osun State, what is happening is that power has changed hands in local governments from one party to the other. And the party in power wants its own arrangement to benefit from the funds. And the federal government too is being cautious Just like emergency funds, you say that you must make sure that they reach the target and are well administered. That's why the federal government can have the guts to hold the funds, but it doesn't want it to get into the wrong hands. But since this Osun State government has gone to court now, and let the Supreme Court reiterate its judgment and see through the context of the case before it and rule judiciously. Right.
What is the impact of this on a grassroots level?
The impact is that if it is implemented, the essence of democracy is to get the dividends of democracy to the grassroots. If it is directly received by the local government, they just do what they have to do in terms of health, in terms of education, in terms of welfare, sanitation, road construction. You don't need to wait for any state government. But as you can see now, the obstacle is it's not easy to lose power. The state governments who are flexing their muscle, they still want to be in charge. But the government of the day should see through what it has promised to implement, what it has gotten judicial support for, separation of powers. It's the duty of government to see that through.
So what are the consequences of not resolving this standstill as soon as possible?
The consequences are many, and that is why you see government seemingly weak. Because if it disburses the funds to the wrong hands, there could be violence in that area. If the government of the day is not the one controlling the local government, and you disburse the government to the local government of the party that was in power before, there will be political unrest, there will be violence. The consequences are that the dividends of democracy will not get to the grassroots. It will be delayed through the bottlenecks created by the state governments. But luckily for us, the Supreme Court has settled that problem. So it is the duty of government now to see through its decision. That's it.
Yes, that's it. Well, what's the way forward?
The way forward? We are under the rule of law. No, it's the rule of, this is what is called constitutionalism. Where you interpret the Constitution the way it is. It's the Supreme Court that has to adjudicate now and interpret the law. We're under the rule of law. So we wait.
Now, you kept talking about the government being afraid, of the funds getting into the wrong hands. But then isn't that the beauty of democracy? Must the funds always be in the hands of the ruling party?
No, you have missed the point.
Okay.
I mean, the funds getting into the wrong hands. In this particular case, in the case of Osun State, the party in power is not the party in power in the state is not the party in power at the center. And the party at the center will disburse the funds. You get now. Even though now you have really gotten it right. If the government, according to the Supreme Court ruling, it is an elected government that should be given the funds for the local government directly, not a government-appointed body in the local government. In Osun State, is the state government that wants the money for the government-appointed council. If the federal government is not being careful, it would have disbursed it to the local government elected, but it has not done so because of political crisis that could ensue. So it's still the rule of law. And if it is in the rule of law, you must have patience until you have adjudication before you can act. That's constitutionalism.
That's constitutionalism. Well, we'll just see how it all plays out.
Yes.
All we can do is wait and hope that the best decisions are made in the interest of everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Dayo Sobowale, Arise News analyst.